Reshoring is happening right now. People just want to see things made here. They want the consistency of it. They're so worried about tariffs. They're worried about the quality. They're worried about their intellectual property having been stolen. People want quality. People want a fair price. But the consumer market is now willing to pay a little more. Amazon's prices, they're not as cheap as they used to be. That's the biggest mistake. Using technology to just outright replace your workforce so that you can lower your costs enough to compete and say you're American made, that's going to miss the message. They're listening to the news, they're hearing stuff about inflation and tariffs, and they get scared and they don't act. That inaction creates massive confusion amongst you, your team, and you don't know what to do. And inevitably, you end up acting, but you act late. The truth is, the best companies, they were founded in opportunity like this. When there's lots of noise, when there's lots of obstacles, when it seems the most difficult, the most hard, that's when the pivot you make turns into the greatest blessing. Welcome to the next episode of the Mobilization Mindset. My name is Scott Peper, CEO and founder of Mobilization Funding, and today we are going to tackle Made in America, manufacturing, what's going on, what's happening, and why you need to pay attention. Look, there's a lot of noise in the news right now. Elections, global trade, inflation, and uncertainty. It's easy for manufacturers to hesitate, to hold back on investing in growth, and to default to the wait-and-see attitude. But here's the truth. The reshoring trend is real. It's happening now. Federal investment in domestic manufacturing is at historic highs, and U.S. buyers are actively seeking American-made products. This is a once-in-a-generation opportunity. If you can step into the moment with the right mindset and the right strategic investment, you can secure high-value accounts, increase your margins, and lead in your market for decades to come. And today, we're going to talk about exactly how to do that. The shift towards domestic supply chain. Look, reshoring is happening right now. People just want to see things made here. They want the consistency of it. They're so worried about tariffs. They're worried about the quality. They're worried about their intellectual property having been stolen. I mean, quite frankly, all these things are huge concerns. The difference today is the costs were just so much less expensive to make it happen that we all fell victim to it. The whole society, the consumers and the companies. We had to get it cheaper. So we moved offshore and then we paid the price. We saw the risks just 5 short years ago during COVID when no one wanted to talk about that anymore. But don't forget, 5 years ago, we had our medicine at risk. We had toilet paper at risk. I mean, for heaven's sakes, we were paying tens and tens of millions of dollars for rubber gloves. Who would have thought, if you did forget, who's remembering that the place you bought your takeout food from was not relying on the food you wanted that night, but who was going to give you a roll of toilet paper, okay? That's where we were. People want quality. People want a fair price, but the consumer market is now willing to pay a little more. Amazon's prices, they're not as cheap as they used to be. The consumer is now focused on convenience. They're looking at value. How much time can I get? How fast can I get this? What's my time worth? Pricing is not the same anymore. It's not cheaper always to buy on Amazon. Here's what you need to do if you're thinking about manufacturing. Figure out how to show your value and deliver your value at the highest possible point. Deliver value in areas other than just price, and you can win. Regardless of what your personal politics are, the political climate has an impact. And as a leader and a business owner, you have to leave your personal political beliefs aside and take care of your business. Whether you like it or not, regardless of the noise, the move to American manufacturing and the consumer's desire to buy American-made products is real. And if you want your business to survive, and more importantly, you want it to thrive, get ahead of your competition right now and start leaning into American-made. So now if you're manufacturing and you're still here listening to me, you're probably like, okay, genius, that makes sense. But how am I going to lower my costs? If I just move everything to manufacturing, I'm going to increase my costs by so much I won't be able to survive. And you're right. Things are going to cost more by not purchasing them overseas or bringing them here. And you're going to have to adjust to that. Regardless of what the tariffs are in certain places, that's filled the cost gap, but it's still going to need to make improvements for you to compete and for you to compete with the efficiency and the effectiveness and the high value you need to. Where you're going to find those particular savings is in the efficiencies of your labor force. Finding the right talent, training that talent, developing that talent from within, using technology like artificial intelligence to help your current workforce be more efficient at what they do. Not by replacing them. That's the biggest mistake. Using technology to just outright replace your workforce so that you can lower your costs enough to compete and say you're American made, that's going to miss the message. You want to make sure you keep your current workforce, but you use artificial intelligence and technology so that they can actually do more work more efficiently in even less time, and pay those same employees an even higher wage, attracting that talent, developing that talent by keeping that talent. So your cost per man hour may go up and the technology investment may go up, but you're not going to have to hire and train tens and dozens of employees just to increase this production. So find that balance between the right number of people with the right talent that you're cultivating and developing, giving them the tools and the technological investments and the artificial intelligence so they can do more, and you will find the best possible ways to win. The companies you see implementing artificial intelligence and robotics and just wiping out entire workforces, even if they're successful at doing that, the consumer does not want to see their friends and their family getting wiped out by intelligence. But if you are winning your story internally and your employees are running around telling their neighbors, their friends, how you just made their job easier implementing artificial intelligence, and they have a higher wage, and instead of hiring 3 people and giving them all a third, you now can give one person 150% more, that is the message you want to win with. Why waiting costs more than acting now? Here's how. Very rarely do you see huge economic shifts in trends, in consumer trends. Think about when the internet was created in 1999. Think about social media in 2008. Think about artificial intelligence today in 2025. These types of moves don't happen all the time. Now think about when we took manufacturing offshore. It was decades ago. Bringing manufacturing back onshore isn't going to happen again in a long time. You have to trust and get ahead of the curve. Look, if you're in business today, you know it's the most competitive environment ever. More than anything else, business is competitive. If you can get ahead of the curve and be competing with less people when the consumer trends shift, meaning if everybody right now is used to manufacturing offshore, then all of your competitors are doing the same thing. If all of a sudden you are manufacturing in America and leaning into that messaging, and now the consumer is looking for manufacturers who are making their products in America, you're going to have less competition to compete with. That's how you win. That's how you move massive market share. Now, how you keep that market share is by delivering an exceptional product like we talked about before, with great value and a great team and amazing talented employees that you're paying very well. That's how you keep them. But how you win them is getting ahead of it early. The closing mindset shift. Many manufacturing business owners, they freeze. They don't make moves fast enough. They're listening to the news, they're hearing stuff about inflation and tariffs, and they get scared and they don't act. That inaction creates massive confusion amongst you, your team, and you don't know what to do. And inevitably, you end up acting, but you act late. The truth is, the best companies, they were founded in opportunity like this. When there's lots of noise, when there's lots of obstacles, when it seems the most difficult, the most hard, that's when the pivot you make turns into the greatest blessing. It's the pivot point that you make in these times when you look back, you say, oh my gosh, I can't believe how successful we are now. And it's all because of, bam, that painful time, that painful point. And most importantly, the decision you made in that time. Make that decision right now for you, for your business, for your family. Take advantage of this opportunity. It is not an obstacle. I promise you, this is the biggest opportunity. Everything that appears to be an obstacle is the opportunity you've been waiting for. And your job as a business owner, as a leader in a business, is to find that opportunity and maximize it. I hope this video has helped you. I hope this lesson has helped you. I hope you take this and share it, pass it on, implement it. Trust me, lean into this and you will find a lot of success. Until next time, have a great week and God bless you.